Obviously at the end of fall camp, and this week is really technically the last week of fall camp, but school has started very near the game week of the first game. So we still have some things that we're doing that are fall camp set up for the defense in terms of some things, but we also are working on our first opponent, and so we've gotten pretty far into that. Obviously, we don't have any new film on them, so the film we've watched all winter, all spring, all summer is still the same film, and it changed. And so the one thing that is a little different about it is trying to predict what the change in the offensive coordinator, play caller will be. That's hard to do, but the head coach has been pretty traditional with what he does. So, but it's still hard. As far as our guys, we've come through fall camp where we don't have anything major. We've got some nicks and bruises, but everybody's practiced really good in terms of their mental focus, their effort. We've still got, and I know this sounds like it may be just talk, but it's fact, in that we've got 9 days, 10 days to go, and we're not there yet. We're not there. It's just the way it's set up when they give you, 28 practices, 26 practices from the start of fall camp to the first game. You utilize every minute of it to get prepared. So we're not there yet. We've still got some things we got to tweak. We still got some things that we got to make sure that we're on the same page about in terms of a lot of the what ifs, if you will. Okay, if you got to move this guy here and that guy there, interchanges, so we keep the best 11 guys on the field at all times if possible. So we're still in that mode a little bit. We're definitely in game plan mode in a certain degree, but obviously we're nowhere ready yet to say that we're game ready. And you say, well, good gracious, you only got a week and a half to go. Well, we've only been practicing basically 3 weeks, so we still got time. That's the way it's set up.
What have you figured out about your buck position with the 3 guys that are really battling there?
We've got, for the first thing we figured out is we've got 3 guys that are really athletic. They're different in some ways. Obviously, Nick Coe is a big, long, powerful guy that can run. He's more of a, if you will, traditional stand-up outside backer in the NFL mode, and that run stopper that can do what he needs to do and pass. TD is a guy that is still in the developmental stages. He's still a young guy. He's got a lot of football to learn, but he's got a lot of athleticism, and he can definitely rush the passer. Big Cat Brian has really been focused this fall camp. He's improved each and every practice. I think he went along about, I don't know, maybe 12 practices into it, and then he had a little dip one day, and that always makes you go, whoa, okay, is this the start of something? But then he came back the next day and was right back to where he was and started picking it up. So, we got those guys.
Is that a spot where you want to have a guy to lean on as the starter, or do you like all 3 and what they bring and you rotate?
Well, obviously it's a long season in the SEC, and I mean somebody's going to play the first play, but you're better when you can have multiple guys and rotate them and not have to change the way you call the game. And so we're getting close to that.
Yeah, just how much different is it when you start to prepare for a team and put the game plan in from a player's perspective, where you kind of focus in a little bit more on a plan?
Well, I mean, there's good parts of going ones and ones in the spring, and there's good parts of going ones and ones in fall camp. But obviously the guys like to play the game, and so there's a little more, I won't say sense of urgency, because we command sense of urgency and mental focus and toughness and relentless effort every day, regardless of if we're playing a first-team offense or we're playing an opponent. It doesn't matter who we play. And so that's kind of the mindset. But obviously when they get into the meeting room and we start going over an opponent and they're learning something new, you can see the notebook pencil flying a little bit faster.
Kevin, can you talk about Washington quarterback and also Gaskin's back again, 3,000-yard seasons at running back,
Yeah.
the offense in general?
Well, I mean they're good players. Washington is a very, very good football team. Mammoth offensive line, big tight ends that can block, multiple tight ends, and they play with 2 and 3 tight ends on the field with those big offensive lines. So they can give you the locomotive offense, if you will. It's coming downhill, and it's coming downhill fast. But the quarterback is very accurate. He's been a starter for 3 years. He's a very good player. The tailback he's really, really quick, and he can make people miss in a short area. You know, he's got a really fast jump skip. You know, he can plant and skip and take off. Makes a lot of people miss tackles.
That said, Kevin, when your defensive line in particular against their offensive, for as much as your team's got an offensive line that was determining some things in camp, so were they. How important is it for your defensive line to be pretty gap sound in this game in particular to keep him and try and contain him in between that tackle?
Well, when you got a defensive line, and I mean, defensive football, if you're not gap sound, it doesn't play. If you're playing, you know, some junior high team, you're gonna get beat. And so, gap sound defensive play and the fits of the safeties and the linebackers off the defensive line and the linebackers, the D line owning their gaps. I mean, to be honest with you, that's where it starts and ends. Because if you don't do that, you're not gonna get to anything else. You're not going to get to third down. You're not going to get to the passing game. And you're probably not even going to get to red zone and goal line defense because they're going to hit it in a home run from 60. And so it's real important.
Got time for 2 more.
Can you talk about your young guys in the secondary? They're still making progress.
They are. I mean, you know, the lights hadn't come on yet in terms of the stadium lights, but they're very energetic. They're very focused. They're communicative. They tackle well for the amount of tackling that we get. We don't get a lot, so we have to use it very wisely and make sure we're ready to tackle on game day, but they tackle well. You know, when you start talking about those 4 guys, that's a pretty they've had it for young guys. I'm not saying who's going to play, who's not going to play, how much they're going to play. You know, that'll remains to be seen. But when you got 4 guys like those guys, they've held their own pretty well. Yeah. Well, it's
and you've got you can go outside, but then who's that 4th option for the outside? Is it Broussard? Is it Christian? Who's in that spot?
Well, it depends on who's at star. You know, if JD is at star, if Javaris is at star, then Igbenogny and Dean are the corners. And it really what we tried to do to we're left and right. And so that's not a big deal for those old guys. They can switch sides, and it's not a big deal. We try to keep Tutt on the left side and Broussard on the right side. You know, I know some people play boundary and field. We play left and right. And so for a young guy, it's not that big a deal, but for a young guy, it is a little different. And so right now, Broussard is on the right side and Tutt's on the left side.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.